Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is Ask Lukenessmonster, episode 42, this series on the channel where I answer your guys' questions from the comments down below. So if you guys do want your questions answered in next week's video, comment down below on this week's video and I'll try my very best to answer it. And real quick, before we do get into that first question, if you would, go down, hit that like button, and subscribe if you're new to the channel because it does really help me out a lot and I would greatly appreciate it. We're also so close to 2K subs, we're like 1.9 right now, we're less than 100 away. So if you aren't subbed, hit that subscribe button. And onto the first question. The first question from Fenner Armstrong. He asks, do you think Omega's ability to wield a blaster is an inherited instructional trait from possibly being a clone of Jango? So this is kind of on the line of what I thought, but also not entirely. I think it has more to do with the fact that, like the Kaminoan said, she is one of those like modified genetic clones, and I think that it's not like an inherited trait from Jango, but I think she does possess like some abilities of all of the Bad Batches themselves put together, like leadership from Hunter, like Crosshair's like super sight slash sniper ability, whatever you want to call that, a little bit of Wrecker's strength, and of course her interest in like technology or whatever, kind of like tech. I think it is all in there, kind of a little bit from each character, and she just makes up all of them as one. Caden asks, face reveal, and if you could make a wave of 5 or 6 figures, what or who would they be? So face reveal will happen eventually. So I know lately I've been saying my content as of right now doesn't really require a face reveal, so until it does require it, I probably won't do it. But I am doing a lot more live streaming, and it would just be so much more convenient to actually like show my face in a live stream than some just figures standing still in front of the camera. So if I continue to do a lot more live streams, I might do a face reveal sometime. So it's not like too far in the future, but it might still be a little bit. The next question says, do you think Hasbro will ever use the animated face mold for future clones like they did for the old Clone Wars waves? I think maybe like a mix here and there, but it's not going to be like a full animated face. So I know kind of like the Bad Batch wave is a mix between the animated and realistic, or I guess it's kind of an interpretation of it in realistic style, but I don't think they're going to go back to the animated style. The Black Series is for like accuracy to the movies and TV shows, and it's supposed to be real life. It's supposed to interpret it as like a real movie kind of figure. So like Clone Wars Anakin is going to have a Hayden Christensen head from now on. It's just how it's going to be 100% of the time, and that's because most fans have large collections, and an animated Anakin face next to a realistic Ahsoka face just doesn't look good, and they're trying to keep it consistent throughout the line. Jay Prasad says, what is the farthest you've traveled to pick up a Black Series figure? So while I have picked up Black Series figures, like while I was on vacation somewhere, which is pretty far, but I actually didn't specifically go there to pick up the Black Series figure, so I'm not going to count that. But the farthest I specifically went out of my way to travel to pick up a figure was probably 2 hours. There was this like small comic toy shop or whatever a few hours away from where I live, and I decided that I wanted to check it out, so I drove there, picked up a few figures, and yeah, I think it was about 2 hours away, so 2 hours. The next question says, hey, with the new ARC Trooper mold, do you think we could get the Battlefront 2 ARC Troopers? So 100%, I would love that. I think it's a possibility now because that is like the realistic style of the ARC Trooper, not the animated style. So it's pretty much the exact same thing that we already see in Battlefront 2. We could just paint it differently and it would be perfect. And honestly, this is something I want to see. I want to see Hasbro do this. These would be perfect in the Gaming Greats line, and I don't see why they wouldn't do it. Like, it's going to happen eventually. It's a matter of when, not if. Faceless Enigma says, do you think that Hasbro is going to keep pushing the exclusives hard, and your thoughts on if making so many store exclusives is a good thing, because there have been a bunch lately and some of them are going to be highly requested figures that will probably end up being eBay exclusives. So yeah, I definitely like the eBay exclusives because a lot of them probably will be, but I think Hasbro is going to keep on pushing them. They get tons of money from exclusives, and companies are going to keep offering money for it because of course it drives more people into their store looking for the exclusives, and then they're more apt to buy more stuff just in the store while they're there. So you know, people love exclusives like company wide. Like Hasbro loves it because they're getting bank from it. Target, Walmart loves it because they're getting more people in their stores and selling, of course, every figure. So, from a money standpoint, it's good, but, from a fan collector standpoint, it's bad. And it's one of those things like it sucks, but it's not going away. And if it's not gonna go away, I think Hasbro should at least find a way to make it good for everyone. Like, even if it's just producing more stock and making the exclusive well stocked figures like that. I know I make it sound simpler than it really is, but like people want these figures and they're hard to get, so just make them easier to get. And I know I'm making that sound way simpler than it actually is, but if Hasbro is going to keep on doing exclusives, Hasbro needs to find a way to make them more readily available for everyone. Christopher says, have you watched Rebels yet? If so, what's your favorite character? Mine's Kanan. So I actually watched Rebels like from the day it premiered to the day it ended. I loved Rebels, watched it all the way through. I know there's some of those haters that originally didn't like it because it's just a kid's cartoon, but then they rewatched it and they thought it was really good. But I watched it from day one and I've loved it ever since. My favorite character is probably either Ezra or Sabine. Sorry about that. And that's just because I love their character arcs throughout the series. They're kind of childish and irresponsible at the beginning, and they grow up and become pretty good heroes by the end. And I really love their characters and their arcs throughout the series. It's way more than Rey got in the entire new trilogy. Kyle says, do you have a good way of opening the bubble on card types of figures without completely ruining the packages or the card backs itself? For example, the 50th anniversary Qui-Gon and Mace Windu. So we actually have some of those figures right in front of you, and what I actually do is I take a knife and I run it. Sorry, the battle droid is just gonna fall over, But I take a knife and I run it along the edge of the bubble right here, and I actually cut it open just enough to where you can slip the plastic out like this, and then once it comes out you can just put it back in after removing the figure. And as you can tell, the bubble is still intact, the card is still intact, and it's barely any gap right there. So yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, but there's obviously more ways to do it.
Simply Star Wars says, do you think that Season 1 or 3 Black Series Ahsoka could be released? I found it really hard to get the Mandalore one, so I think this figure could be really nice. So I think that this one is a necessity to the Black Series. I think it's one that they have to make eventually. And, they just released General Obi-Wan and General Anakin in the Target exclusive line, and I'm really hoping that we get this one in the main line. I think, like I said, she's a pretty big character, and if they make her an exclusive, all of the main characters are going to be exclusives, and it's one of those things that we just can't keep getting that in the Black Series. They're going to have to put some of those main characters in the actual main Clone Wars line eventually, so I'm hoping that we get Season 3 or 5 Ahsoka eventually to get her in the main line and not as an exclusive. Riggs says, wow, almost 2K subs. I remember when you had less than 1,000. Congratulations, and you are by far my favorite Black Series YouTuber. And now my question is, what's your favorite Black Series from 2021 so far? So thank you so much for the support. I do really greatly appreciate it. I love longtime fans. It just means a lot to me. And right now, my favorite figure from 2021, I don't have it yet, but it would definitely be Echo. Again, don't have it, but if I can't pick him, since I don't actually have him in hand yet, I would probably have to go with Crosshair from the Bad Batch line. Really great figure, definitely one of the better ones from this year, and definitely one of my favorite figures overall. So Hayden says, should they make a figure of Captain Gregor from the Clone Wars and Rebels? So I think Rebels would be an interesting figure, but I think if they're going to make any type of Gregor at all, it will be from the Clone Wars. A clone Commando of Gregor would be amazing. It'll look great on the shelf. It'll just be a really nice figure, and I hope they eventually make that clone Commando mold pretty soon. I don't know when. I think there's been rumors of it going around. I don't know how true they are, but I'm really hoping that we do get any type of clone Commando pretty soon in the future. McTapper says, questions, what are your thoughts on the Bad Batch so far? So honestly, I've really enjoyed it. I'm a huge Clone Wars fan, and this is kind of just like Clone Wars Season 8, and I'm a huge fan of that. I love how it still keeps that Clone Wars aesthetic, but like kind of merges with Rebels with that small squad kind of vibe to it, and I really like that. I think it's pretty good so far, and I just cannot wait for more episodes to keep coming out. Alien Kid says, are the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm figures re-releases all 6-inch figures? So the 50th anniversary Lucasfilm line is interesting. They put that logo on pretty much everything Star Wars right now. They've been putting it on 6-inch, 3 3/4 inch, a bunch of different stuff. So it's not strictly 6-inch, and they all haven't been re-releases either. Some of them have been brand new figures. Some of them have been just repaints or reissues. So that line is all over the place. Inferno Hippo says, how much money do you think you've spent on Black Series so far? And do you have Twitter? So no, I don't have Twitter. It's just not a social media app that I'm really interested in. I do have Instagram. It is linked in the description if you do want to go follow. But how much money have I spent on Black Series? That is a tough question. I don't know like the exact number offhand, but if I had to guesstimate, it'd probably be around $600 to $700, which is a lot of money. So yeah. Nicholas says, what was your favorite scene in the Bad Batch? So at least from the first episode, my favorite scene had to be the Order 66 scene with Kanan. I think that was awesome. I love what they did with that, and of course Crosshair just like muttering, good soldiers follow orders. That hit different, and yeah, definitely Order 66. The next question says, what inspired you to start Ask Lukenessmonster? That is an absolute great question, and there are several different things. One, I wanted to get like a video thing that really connected me to my fans a little bit better, get on that like personal level. And I really like that. I love answering your guys' questions, and I'm sure you guys love hearing me answer them. So that's one reason. But another reason is I watched, actually, I've been watching M&R Productions for like, I don't know, it's been like 5 or 6 years now, and I've always watched his Ask M&R Productions, and that was a huge inspiration for it, of course. I thought like he does it pretty good, and I thought I could do it as well, just because he does Lego, I could do action figures, and it's worked pretty well. And of course, Bosk's Bounty does the exact same thing, and he pretty much gave me a little bit inspiration as well, because of course I do watch that, and it is pretty nice. But most of the inspiration came from M&R. NRG asks, what is your favorite clone commander? So this one's probably a pretty common answer, but as of right now, it is Commander Cody. I've loved him ever since I started watching Clone Wars back when it first started coming out, and I've loved him ever since. So he's probably my favorite clone commander as of right now. Yeah, I really hope they do a new version of him in the Black Series eventually, but I gotta love Cody. James says, who is your favorite Bad Batch character? 100% Crosshair. I loved his character arc through the Clone Wars and now in Bad Batch. I really liked, he's a grumpy, how do I say this? Shy, kind of well-rounded off person. And now seeing him, kind of get all of it. He wants to go and do his own thing. He doesn't want to keep hanging around these like other immature, stupid Batch people that he's been around his entire life. He wants, to do the right thing, at least in his eyes, and that's serve the Empire. And of course, the inhibitorship does have a little bit to do with that. But honestly, just seeing him go from that like Bad Batch character to that like prototype Death Trooper kind of guy, it's like really cool. And I definitely like to see his character grow even more. Eventually, getting his chip removed and going back to the old Crosshair. At least that's my prediction for the show. I don't know if that's actually going to happen. But yeah, I'd love to see more of his character arc. Anyway, guys, it is actually going to do it for the video. If you did enjoy, that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you didn't get your question answered in this week's video and you still want it answered, comment it again in next week's video, and I'll try my very best to answer it. And yeah, make sure you are subbed to the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next video.